Hi, Anjana here. We all know that there are no second chances to make a great first impression. And if that first impression is to be made at an interview, well, then you should know the skills. What are the key factors to consider when facing interviews? Let's talk to Mrs. Richa Dhar, an executive coach and an international trainer for more than 12 years. She is a certified master trainer from CAMI US and a competent communicator from Toastmasters International USA. She has international exposure working in Mauritius and Japan. Welcome to Pep Talk. So, we live at a time where every activity is carried online. It is remote working and interviews are also done virtually. So, what are the factors to be considered while appearing for an interview online? Can you take me through the technical aspects?
Sure, Anjana. See, online interviews or face-to-face interviews are very similar in nature as far as the assessment is concerned, as far as the evaluation of the caliber of the candidate, of what the employer is looking for is concerned. What has changed is the platform. So, first of all, there are two very basic kinds of online interviews that can happen. One is in a virtual meeting, like the one we are in right now, or there is another one where sometimes the organizations can send you some questions, ask you to create a video recording, and send it back to you. But the most common one is where there is a virtual face-to-face interview. Now, the main difference in a virtual interview is that even though it's virtual, you're sitting on different locations. One has to treat it like a physical interview. One has to treat it like any normal face-to-face interview. Certain additional things to be kept in mind are, one being punctual. Even if it's good to test your technology in advance so that there is no last minute hiccup. It's good to test your audio, your camera in advance. It's extremely important to have a backup network connection. Sometimes network may not work properly. There can be any other technical problem. So always good to have a backup plan ready with you. So this is some very very basic thing that anyone who's going for a virtual interview should keep in mind. The other important thing is that always familiarize yourself with the platform on which you're going to interview. So the technology is similar, but the pattern in which the platforms work is very, very different. So it's extremely important, whichever platform the company will tell you in advance that this is the platform on which we are going to, take the interview, good to prepare yourself for that. In addition to that, an extremely important thing is that always keep a pen and a notepad ready with you. Uh, Listen to the questions very carefully, answer very slowly and clearly. And another very, very important aspect you have to keep in mind is your body language. Agreed, your frame is the only thing that they can see. Your upper half of the body is all they can see. But making an eye contact by looking straight in the camera makes a lot of difference. Using your hands makes a lot of difference. So whatever part of your body is visible, use it with confidence. Sit straight, sit in a good posture, and most importantly, sit in a very quiet place where there is no background noise or disturbance. And one last thing that I like to add here is feel free to use a virtual background. In case we all don't have separate workspaces in our houses. In case you are in a bedroom or in a shared space, feel free to use a virtual background which is neutral, maybe a home office kind of a thing. Don't go for a beach or a hilltop, right? And sometimes the organizations do send you a virtual background, so use that. So these are basically a couple of things you have to keep in mind. And of course, research the organization, research the profile, study about the people who are going to interview you in case you're aware of who it is. These are some extremely important things that you should keep in mind specifically in a virtual interview.
Okay, so in the real interview, you enter the room, you greet the panel. So, how is this different in a virtual interview? What is expected in virtual interviews? How do you greet the panel?
First thing they will see is your face the moment you log in. So start with a smile on your face. Keep a glass of water next to you. It's absolutely fine to take a sip in case you're feeling nervous. You will not be able to shake hands with them, but that's pretty much the only body language which you'll not be able to do. Start by wishing everyone. right? Wish them all good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever time of the day you're having the interview, and wait for their questions to come across. You can even ask, how are you, a very generic question. But besides that, it will be very much like a normal interview.
Absolutely. When you appear in person, the interview board can see you, your body language, the vibe. It shows whether you're confident or nervous. So, how can you create an impression in a virtual interview?
The first thing I'll recommend, like I just said, use eye contact.
Okay.
Look into the, and the best way to make eye contact in a virtual meeting is look into your camera, that small tiny light at the top of your laptop. Look into that camera. Don't look at the people on the screen, because then they'll not feel that you're looking at them, right? So you can look at the camera. That makes a very strong eye contact. The other thing, feel free to use your hands, because that's the only part of the body they'll be able to see, right? The other thing that you can do to show confidence is be very professionally dressed. Just because you are giving the interview from the comfort of your house doesn't mean that you can just, wear a t-shirt, wear a formal shirt and a jeans underneath that. So dress up professionally, be clean shaven, or tie your hair properly, or dress your hair properly. Just get ready as if you're going for a physical interview. So professional look, strong body language, and a strong eye contact brings across a very confident person in a virtual interview.
Okay, now coming to the process, you'll be asked to introduce yourself. So the board has seen your CV, they're aware of your qualifications, your work experience. So what information should be passed on? Or when you talk about yourself, what are they judging? Is it that your communication skill alone, or should you include the qualities that you consider is strong in you? Or do you need to wait for that to be asked?
Anjana, it's a very critical question when someone asks you, tell me something about yourself. Sometimes they make it very obvious, much more obvious, by saying, tell me something which is not on your CV, right? So the best thing to answer this question is, don't waste your time in reading out your qualifications. They already have that in front of you. But start with your achievements, right? Start with the projects that you've done. Start by giving them an extra information which is not in your resume. For example, you talk about where are you from? A quick one-liner. I belong to so and so part of the country, and as an engineer, I have done. In case you're preparing for an engineering job, as an engineer, I've done these projects. Right, talk about your strengths. So I have always played, let's say, cricket. So being a team player is something that I do. I worked on team projects. I have done research along with my work. If you are an MBA student, you can talk about your summer internship. This is an opportunity. Grab it with both your hands and talk about everything you want them to know about you. Talk about your strengths, talk about your key achievements. If there is any project that is relevant to the job profile, to the industry, describe that project. Talk about why you did that. Right. So it should be, usually it's a 2 to 3 minute maximum timeline that you will get for it. Right. So utilize it to focus on the things that you want them to remember about you, that make you eligible for that job. And another important thing to keep in mind while answering this particular question is that don't keep on mumbling or rambling on the things on and on and on. Have that script ready with you, speak about it, and finish it in around 2.5 minutes. I'll recommend don't stretch it beyond that.
Sometimes they ask you questions like, what is your weakness or areas that you think need to be improved? So how do you deal such questions? Because nobody want to say that there are certain bad things that need to be improved, right?
Yes, yes. So let me first start by saying, please don't make two cardinal mistakes while answering this question. One, please don't say things like, I don't have a weakness, or chocolate is my weakness, because these kind of, this is while it may sound really nice to you, and I know there are certain Google sites which will recommend saying that, please don't do that, because that kind of plays with the sanctity of the interview. This question is asked with a very strong intent, so understand the intent behind it. The intent is to see, are you self-aware? Are you confident enough to share what you need to learn? And most important of all, if you are aware of your weakness, what is it that you have done or you are doing to improve upon it? So this is something that you have to keep in mind. They're not there to find out your mistakes. So if you are going to apply for a team job, right, where you will be working with a team, don't say I'm not a team player or working with people is a problem. And sometimes people talk about the other cardinal mistake people make is they talk about their strength and portray it as a weakness. Right. For example, I can't, it's very difficult for me to see when people don't do their work on time or they're not punctual, or, you're trying to show that you're punctual and you respect time, or, you're perfectionist in your work. Please don't do that. People can see through that. The interviewers are experienced. Instead, what I recommend, pick up something which is not threatening to your eligibility to the job, right? I'll give you an example. For example, let's say fluency in English. You're not as fluent in English as you will want it to be, right? Or maybe you are learning to be more fluent in English. Or let's say maybe public speaking is something that you have never been very confident about. So you can say that, fluency in English or public speaking is something that I believe is my area of improvement. Do not use the word weakness. They may use the word weakness. You should never use the word weakness. Say area of improvement, but don't end your answer there. That's another mistake. Take it forward and talk about what you have done so far to work upon that weakness. So if I'm aware that if I'm aware that I get nervous on the stage, then I have to do something about it. That shows my proactive behavior. So talk about, at present, I've been working on my language for the last 2 years. And I do understand being sophisticated and having a very clear communication is very important. And English communication, or let's say public speaking or presentations, have been an area which I used to be nervous about. In the last 2 years in my master's, in my MBA, or in the last 3 years of my engineering, I have been working on it continuously. I've delivered multiple class presentations. I work with my friends. I have joined public speaking club in my college. Talk about things that you've done. I've read these books. Talk about things that you've done to work upon it. So it's not just what you're bad at, it's what is your area of improvement and what you have done so far. So they're going to check your self-awareness and your proactivity, two things.
The most dreaded question always is, why should we hire you? What is the appropriate answer for that? Are you supposed to give your strength there, to frame your answer so that you exhibit your strength, your strong points?
Absolutely, absolutely. Why should I hire you? Why have you applied for this job? What attracts you towards our company? Why this industry? Why, let's say if I'm an MBA HR, then why HR? These are all very similar questions. More or less, the answer is going to be same. Now, there's a small, methodology or a trick, you may say, that I recommend all the people who are applying for the jobs to do. Whether you are a fresher, whether you're an experienced person, everyone can do that. Create a SWOT analysis for yourself, your strengths and weakness and opportunities and threats. If you can't go in that much detail, at least your strengths and your opportunities. These two sections, what are the opportunities this job can give you, and what are your strengths that make you eligible? So create your strengths and opportunity. Right next to that, keep your resume, and right next to that, keep the job profile. So look at your resume, look at your job profile, and look at your strengths and opportunities, and that will give you all the material you need to answer this question. Right. So, to say something like you are the market leader and I've been working, these are very cliched answers. Then if they are the market leader, they already know that. Right. So be very clear, not just about the fact that it's a good job, it's a wonderful scenario, it's a good opportunity to start my career. Of course, that's there. But talk about what can you offer? Why should we hire you? Why did you apply to this job? Is not simply about what you can get from them. Start with what you can offer. So you can say, during my MBA in HR or during my MBA in sales and marketing, I have already done FMCG sales. So suppose you're applying for an FMCG company. So you can say that, my internship has been all around FMCG. I have done market mix. I have studied the 4Ps. I've been in the industry. I've done competition survey. I've been on the field. And I understand how the retail works. And then you give an example, give a few examples from your summer internship. And then you say, and because of these kind of learnings and that experience, when your job profile came across, I realized it really matches with what I aspire to do. And, the job profile, and then talk about certain key points. It talks about market mix. It talks about working on the field, whatever, match it with your internship and put it across. So it talks about that even though I'm a fresher, but I do bring something to the table.
Okay, so coming to salary, we have to negotiate. So how do you do it tactfully?
There are two things to it. Number one, have they defined the salary already? If the job advertisement or the job profile comes with a specific salary, bracket, be sure you will be given something in there. If you are an experienced person, you have 1 or 2 years of experience behind you, you can always negotiate on your previous salary. But what is really critical to understand is how much should you quote in case they ask you to, right? And you have to do some market research before that. So do your research that for that kind of a profile with your kind of experience, how much salary is the market giving? You will get a wide range. So you may get something between 20 to 25,000 is the average range that they're giving. And then you can start by quoting for 25,000. You can quote at the higher end and then the negotiation can take you towards the lower end. But never just quote the number. Always when you quote the number, also give them, idea that I'm quoting this number because I believe, these are the factors that I bring to the table. Being an MBA from so and so organization, having this 1 year or 2 years of experience, or done these internships, starting out at a certain point. Talk about it very openly to them. Tell them what you bring to the table, and then give the quote. One suggestion or one warning that I'll give: never give a range. Anything between 20 to 25,000 is what I'm looking for. So when you say 20 to 25,000, they will definitely start with 20,000. So the negotiation will start at 20. So you want to settle down at 20, quote somewhere around 23, 24. But whatever you want to settle down at should be based on your market research. If you can find out how much this company gives internally, if you can through your connects, through your seniors, find out how much the company pays for that profile. So you'll have to do a lot of homework before that.
Okay, so sometimes there are questions like this. Do you have any questions for us? So how do you answer such questions?
I recommend do have some questions. It's always good.
Okay.
But be very prepared for these questions. These questions can't come on the spot. You have to do your homework. So study about the company, about their let's say website. Study about the industry. Take a technical question and ask them. And I'll give you here an example. A couple of years back, I was with a management institute, and one of my students who was specializing in finance got through an interview, and she actually was asked this question: do you have any question for us? And she asked them that, I saw on your website that last year there has been, a certain amount of the profit has been less compared to last year. So wanted to understand what's the reason for that. And the lady across the table immediately said, no, that has not happened. We've been profitable last year as well. And she said, no, that there was a difference, so that's why I'm asking. So in front of her, the interviewer opened the website and they figured out that there was an error in the data they present. Right. So I'm not saying everyone will be able to find the errors. That's not the target. The target is to be prepared by knowing about the company. So asking questions, please don't ask questions like, how many holidays will I have? Please tell me what should I improve? What do you think? How did my interview go? Don't ask these questions. These questions show that you're not ready for the job. So instead of that, ask questions about the industry, about that organization. You will have a lot of material once you go on the website. Right? Don't just read the articles, look at the other links which give the financials of the company, the annual report of the company. Read through that. You will get a lot of material.
Okay, Richa, that was a very informative session. Thank you so much. Keep watching Pep Talk.